operations report, if that's okay.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the board. Shirttailing on the event for this weekend. We began, as you probably are aware, pre-revenue service for the Green Line on August 30th. At the same time, revenue service started on the Yellow Line. And the reason for that, and sometimes it gets confusing with the way in which we try to explain these things, but the Yellow Line and the Green Line are interlined. So every other trip, that train goes green, then goes yellow. So when it's operating as a Green Line downtown on the mall, it's not in service. When it's operating in the yellow as the Yellow Line, it is in service. First day, probably a little bit more confusion than we wanted to. We were out in front of it with public outreach in the beginning, but what happened, is unfortunately on Monday, we didn't have a real good day. We had a few issues, and that's really what pre-revenue service is all about, trying to find out where your Achilles heel is when you set up your operation. We had a switch failure at Gateway. We had a couple of vehicle issues. We had impacts now on the Steel Bridge. The Steel Bridge, we have 4 different lines that are timed very precisely coming through the Steel Bridge area to generate our service through the downtown. And that lineup is critical. So it was the first time that the operations group, from a command center standpoint, had the opportunity to actually see, with dwell times and so forth, the 4 different lines, the timing of the trains through the Steel Bridge. As I said on Monday, not too good, but by the end of the week, we were up around 80% on-time performance, and every day we continue to improve. So as we get ready for Saturday and look forward to peak service next week on the mall, we're looking for good things. The timing of those 4 lines is critical at Rose Quarter, at Gateway, and at Beaverton. Those are our major connecting points. Ends of line typically start out on time when you get to Beaverton Transit Center inbound on one side, and Gateway on the east side is when you start mixing yellow and green and blue and red line trains all together through the trunk of our system. And the more and more we do that, the more the operators and also the controllers get comfortable integrating all of those lines. As I said, the first week was slow and cautious movements by the train, and it was the first time that the train operators, as I've said in the past, got the opportunity to see the taillights of the bus. Typically, they don't run on the same alignment downtown, and everything's going fairly well. We did have one hiccup. We had a short turn on a bus, hit a train on the mall, just a minor touch. We have made an adjustment operationally. So if we have a 77 coming up Gleason, typically they turn right and then make a left. What we're doing is extending them a block. They're not missing a stop, but if a train's there, it's a little cleaner for the operator to negotiate those curves. As you know, down there in the downtown area, some of those right turns are very tight for operators. Again, this is what simulated service is all about. This is what we like to see. So we have the ability to plan against it or plan for it when we have revenue service operations. The Type 4 cars, we've got 18 of them now that have been accepted and in service, and that was the magic number we were looking for. We worked very closely with our engineering folks to accept and commission the vehicles. We tried to get as many miles on them as we can, and we continue to do so. Every day we learn more about the vehicles, and we get more reliable in the operation of the car, and more importantly, our comfortableness with responding to an issue. Our operators and our supervisors and maintenance folks have a lot of experience with Type 1s, 2s, and 3s, limited compared to those with Type 4s, but we improve every day in terms of our response. The important piece for us when we look at how tightly our lines are integrated through the trunk is not focusing as much as we do on the resolution of the issue, but the restoration of the service. And we focus on that in meetings, after action plan meetings, weekly meetings, in terms of everybody wants to get out there and they want to fix that problem. And sometimes they forget about the gap that's created by that one train. And it's difficult to go there and think about not solving the issue, just moving the issue. And that's what we're improving on each and every day. We do start, as was mentioned before, with our new service plan. Rail started August 30th. Bus starts September 13th. We are going to be out the first week specifically with additional folks in the field. As you know, in some of the reductions, we widened our shoulders in some of the areas in terms of our peak service. So we're looking to make sure that we did do the right thing and we do have the capacity for the existing lines and the ridership that they currently haul. And if we have to make an adjustment, we want to make sure that we're out there and we're monitoring it closely with our own eyes to make sure that it's not just a new operator on a new line or new customers getting used to a new schedule, but it's actually an issue that we have to adjust from a schedule standpoint. As I said, we'll be monitoring our service both on the rail line and on the bus side, and that concludes my report unless you have any questions.
And if I do, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Steve.
You got a question at the end of the table?
Steve, incidentally, yellow, green, red, and blue makes a rainbow.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. Everybody likes to see a rainbow.
Absolutely. It brings the good to all of us. Yeah. Hey, why would the Green Line run a non-service downtown?
Because we are trying to run that in pre-revenue service.
This is just up through Saturday.
Just through Saturday.
Oh, it will
Just,
become.
yes,
yeah. And Saturday is in revenue
Sometimes
service.
even when I ride it, something will come not in service, and people kind of grumble. What do you mean it's not in service?
Yeah,
There it goes by us. So.
We typically do that with every startup just to
That's
get
fine.
the bugs out of the schedule. But
No.
come Saturday, it's in.
Good. Yeah, that was fine.
So on Saturday, is the entire line free? Everything's free on Saturday? Or is it just the green line?
Green line.
Just Green Line.
Because my next question was going to be a nice one. How do we replace that revenue?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.